All right. New stream, new us. Same top 8 as earlier.
You're glowing in this new stream.
Thank you.
You look beautiful.
It's because I have been resting for 2 hours to put my full effort into top 8. So are other people. There's like 17 Lexis in this. Let's go find where we see top 8 somewhere. Which button is this going to be, Justin? Just so we know. Oh, first page where it says top 8.
Boom.
All right, we got Ian Smith versus Jonathan Taurus. That's the 1v8. 4 versus 5 is what we're going to watch.
It is. We got Brodie Spurlock on Lexi Livewire versus the lone Oldhim in the cut.
I love that it's 4 Lexis versus 4 trusty heroes.
Anything else?
Yeah. John Abanto is going to be facing up against Majin Bey. I'm wondering if Majin can get his three turns to get the full combo or you die.
Yep.
So good luck at that. And Anthony Pham versus Brandon Abarca. Those are kind of besties, best friends. Those are our 2 local people where it's like kind of sucks they're playing in round 1. And when I mean local, I mean I play against them pretty regularly. Everybody else is either traveling in or whatever. So whoever wins that 2 versus 7 is going to be putting the whole hopes and dreams
of SoCal,
Los Angeles on their back.
Look at that. Yeah, here we go. And
straight into the match.
This is now, after round 1, we said, all right, listen, Oldhim, they're leaving the format. We don't want to feature this hero too heavily. But here's the deal with this matchup, right? We got Brodie Spurlock coming in. This is the XP McGee. This guy is everywhere.
McGee.
This guy is everywhere. He is just an absolute grinder and a fiend, and so friggin' good at the game, right?
And he gets to sit next to Evan.
That's so cool.
That's travel the world, sit next to Evan should be the new tagline of whatchamacallit. Evan wearing Crocs today. He also opened up his judge pack and got ALS.
Cool.
So it was very cool to see that happen live. Maybe he was trying to keep it a secret, but don't open it in front of your friends. Too bad. Matthew Vore is from Arizona. You've heard of the Vore brothers.
You heard of Arizona.
Yeah. People are saying I want to see that top 8 Fi list. I think the top 8 Fi list had a disclaimer. It was like only play Lexis in your last 2 rounds, because I think he went solid 5 or 6-0 and then lost to a couple Lexis. But we'll see if it turns around for him in top 8.
Final round of Swiss was in fact Anthony against Jonathan? Brandon. And it wasn't pretty.
They're friends, so they were doing a big old song and dance of it, not probably realizing that they were going to be playing again in another hour. But it was like, don't worry, I would never, what's the arms? What is it called?
Say it again.
Bullseye bracer. I would never bullseye bracer you. I don't have a card in hand, as there was a clear, like, endless arrow hitting, and it was like, God, I hate this guy.
So now, all right, this game is about to begin. We have the lone Oldhim versus Brodie Spurlock on Lexi. What I'm curious about, it looks as though because Brodie was the higher seed, he's going to get to elect to go either first or second. And we saw him in Swiss, not on camera though. He took down Craig Pollock in the literal last hand of the game. I mean, there were 30 seconds left on the
Craig
clock.
Was like, I freaking blew it.
Yeah,
because he had the Heart of Final in his arsenal, and if he gets that out of there earlier, you can pitch to heal up and survive by 1, but it was legitimately an arrow's coming in for 7 because he got back the battering shot. Battering bolt. +1 from the thing. I'm going to say the right card names, guys. Give me 1 second. Voltaire. And 7 is going to be too much for 6 to block, and that's how Craig died. So I think that's maybe the first time they've played for he takes round 1, and then maybe Craig gets him back next time.
Brodie electing to go first here. Looks as though he's going to load the arsenal at least once, pitching a Rain Razors right to the bottom of the deck for at the end cycles of this game, the second cycle of what hopefully is going to be enough to close the thing out through the defenses of the Oldhim. Looks as though he is passing priority after the Voltaire. See what Matt Vore wants to do on this very first turn of the game. Last time we saw Brodie on camera, he had a very interesting turn 1 that led to 8 damage, but left him without an arsenal. So it looks as though he is, this turn, rather than facing down the Voltaire potential shenanigans of the Lexi Mirror, he might just have the freedom to set up a 6-card hand.
Right. There's more discipline going to, I need to beat Oldhim. I'm wondering if there's any ice cards in this list, because I think it's like, that's what you need to do against the Go Wide crew. But if you don't have ice cards in your list, maybe you're just hoping for, oh, we're blocking with our best attack?
Oh, I see. This is literally Matt's first turn. Cool.
Oh.
That's what's happening.
So he chose to go second.
Yeah.
We've been saying the wrong thing. Okay, so he saved enough to block the Command and Conquer, and he will not get punished there. Now we know what we're doing.
Yeah, I didn't see the unit go up. And then I looked over, I'm like, wait a second.
Thanks, everybody in the chat. Okay, everybody that knows Brodie a little bit better than I do knows that he was going to go second. And now we have our first. We're going to shoot a bunch of arrows.
Start the turn, load up the Voltaire with a Remorseless coming in with Go Again. This is going to come in for 5. No defense reaction from Arsenal this turn, but Crown of Seeds is going to be able to get that card out of there if Matt Vore elects to go for that plan.
I think it is interesting to do the, let me load up arrows on my opponent's turn 1. Only gets punished if you have a Command and Conquer. And, like, I don't know if he was like, oh, man, Battering Bolt is my favorite card against Oldhim, but now there's one in the discard pile because we wanted to block to keep our extra cards going.
Blocking here with at least a Buckling Blow, then going to go ahead and Earth React to cover up the 5.
Okay, so we got Earth cards.
We got Earth cards.
We got Earth
Oh,
cards
we got
all
Earth
day. Interesting that, like, obviously Brodie's pretty good at the game. XP McGee, down and dirty coming.
Saving that.
Not seen this before.
Yeah, saving that Searing Shot. Now, these down and dirties, they're mostly in the deck as poppers. You're able to block with them from your arsenal. But Brodie Spurlock, I know from watching the earlier rounds versus Oldhim, he's presenting, at least last time, like close to 68 cards, 65, 68 cards. So these down and dirties, they're in here to present threats, have cards in the deck so that the game that will most likely go to near fatigue or fatigue, you have a little bit more of an edge.
Most of the time I'd be like, smoke him if you got him, but I don't think we're old enough to smoke in this.
In this specific game.
Yeah.
A specific matchup for no reason at all. And keeping that Searing Shot critically in the arsenal face up, but would rather pair it with more powerful buff effects when you can just throw 6 damage out, continue your turns.
I wonder what Matthew's thinking when he sees down and dirty from a Lexi player coming at him. If that's like, oh, the Arizona Lexis do this too, or if this is I learned this on the road that I'm. It's crazy because like I think when you go to other metas, you're like, oh, I never learned that, and now I'll take that. Like, I think one of the most famous things of this is like, oh well, let me shut up when there's this power turn. Immediately Rain Razors into 3 of a kind. I think this is everyone's least favorite.
Yeah.
Combo in the game, to be honest.
At the moment, perhaps. I mean, here's the thing: pitching the red into it means you not just one of those 3 cards is going to be used for pitch for the rest of this turn, but it's not like you were under any pressure here if you're Brodie on Lexi.
No.
Matt just passed the turn over there, so this is going to be a full grip of very powerful arrows coming in. The first one is going to be an Infecting Shot.
The best one we have.
Or 7. And we do see 2 sigils in Matt Vore's hand. 2 sigil of solaces. That's going to represent life gain, but there's not a lot of blocking ability with those sigils currently in the hand. So it's going to be interesting to see how Matt Vore wants to get through what is one of the most powerful turns any deck in Flesh and Blood can present right now.
I think when you're somebody playing against Lexi, you are kind of like, all right, can I survive through Rain Razor and 3 of a kind? Yes, but I can't do it 3 turns in a row. And you don't want to get down like 20 health because then for the rest of the game, like, Lexi may be like, I don't care. Spinal crush me, and I'll just hit you with down and dirty. That feels like the worst possible thing that could happen. And, like, I don't know what I'm saying, but it is kind of like, this feels so bad. Of, like, why is this already happening in turn 1? I was hoping to get a little bit of a window before this happened instead of, it's not turn 1, but it's like literal turn 2.
Yep. So that damage is going to be blocked out with the Oasis Respite and the block. Moving after there, we have the Endless Arrow coming in. This is going to be the second Voltaire activation coming in 4/6 with Go Again.
Because I feel like everybody watching at home has lost to the ability of, oh, my Endless Arrow comes back to my hand. I'm going to give it Snapdragons to make it go again. Then I'm going to use my arms. And then this innocuous card of like, oh, it's just a 0 for 4 turns into 4 or 5 instances of 0 for 6. And it's like, I thought I was playing a defensive character, and like nobody can deal with four 4 0 for 6 arrows coming at him.
And, you know, you talked about going down like a huge life deficit, 20, 30 life against this Lexi player. When you do that, it's sometimes, you know, we saw Pablo Pintor do that on stream in the calling that he ended up winning to eventually push Oldhim into the Living Legend status, where he just, he had to completely block out from that point forward. His only out was the fatigue, and he managed to navigate it from that incredibly low life deficit. So we'll see how the rest of this turn shapes up, and we're getting some armor equipment block right away, as again, this is just kind of how this turn has to be.
God bless Pablo Pintor for LSSing. What is it? LSSing or
Yeah, I like,
LLing?
I like that too, LSSing.
Yeah. Legend the story and get this out of here, please.
So now, interesting, this was a big turn. We did leak, you know, 7 damage, and we have also established an arsenal. However, you know, those type of turns, sometimes these Lexis, they want to see them later in the game. They want to see them when they've already gotten their opponent down a little more. They have a little more agency on that kind of the front foot, so to speak. But at this point in the game, you have managed to turn your 3 of a kind Rain Razor's turn into 7 damage. It's going to be interesting to see how Brodie wants to, if he wants to continue to play out those cards aggressively in his first cycle, or really try to set up for something powerful, utilizing Remembrances and Art of Wars and cards of that nature.
Are the Lexis still doing the thought process of I need to play 1 Boulder Trap just for Oldhim and then take an off turn, try to get my Oldhim opponent into swinging Titan's Fist so I can mess with the shield and then I don't have to deal with the shield at all?
I haven't seen it personally at any of the games I've watched so far today. I don't think it's been as in vogue, so to speak, in the current matchups.
Okay. I like that.
This is going to be an endless arrow coming in with Go again, blocked out by the 4 block of the card plus the Rampart, followed up by a Pathing Helix. Have to assume also with Go again.
This is the last swan song for Oldhim. Interesting. Normally, I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll root against them.
you're deciding.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is for in
I
terms
don't like
of
Lexi though either.
this is a hater's dream.
Yeah.
This is a hater's dream.
We got a perfect block off of whatchamacallit? Staunch Response. That's pretty good.
Brodie able to, after those attacks, just set up another arsenal. He's not working off a 6-card hand. He hasn't been able to. Matt Vore going to go ahead and gain 3 life off a Sigil of Solace, back up to 32, pass it back to Brodie.
That's 2 sigils, and then 1 went back into his deck, right?
Yeah, one started.
Because I think that's a thought process when you're playing a go wide deck. You're like, I love gaining health. I don't love grabbing a sigil on a very powerful turn where I'm trying to stop my opponent's mid turn, and then I can't.
For sure. Let's see how Brodie wants to take the beginning of this turn. He hasn't used his Lexi activation, so currently no second arsenal zone open to him. Brodie's still at 40. Matt Vore sitting at a comfortable 32. 10 minutes elapsed so far in this, the quarterfinals.
Oh my goodness.
Of the Battle Hardened.
What a recap. Let's go. Playing on an arcane game and events mat that is only 1 of 1. That has wax on it from the Levium, or what is it? From Alan Crayons. We're doing a throwback there.
Alan Crayons Javarin.
Yeah. I think what's not interesting is the quiver placement. I mean, like, you can put your quiver wherever you want.
Oh, that's not interesting to you? You don't want to talk about it?
Like, no, it's just over there. And like, some people put their stuff over there.
It's true. It's true.
I don't know if there's a, like, you would be a better Lexi player if you put your quiver on the left side, or if it makes you deliberately practice by reaching over there for it. I don't know.
I have a feeling it doesn't add too many percentage points to your victories where you place the quiver. But hey, listen, I could be wrong.
True.
True.
You're not wrong very many times. What are we thinking about? Probably we don't have a good pitch card. Maybe we don't want to pitch a yellow or a red. We're just.
Well, we're seeing Brodie Spurlock in his final form. Untimed matches.
Oh, geez.
there is no need for.
Has he ever lost an untimed match?
Yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
I don't watch much Flesh and Blood, so.
You don't need to, bro. You're not casting much.
3 of a kind is in Arsenal, so let's see what's behind door number 1, 2, 3, or after we do this.
This is going to be a Heat Seeker coming in, and we're not throwing the 3 of a kind yet. It looks as though Brodie electing to keep that 3 of a kind to perhaps pair with something like a Rain Razors, like an Art of War to make an even bigger turn. Just drawing 3 cards might not be enough to get through the defenses of our old granddaddy.
The grandfather of eternity. It feels like they were talking about his LS or his living legend and still playing afterwards. That's a full block. Matthew Vore said thank you, but no thanks to giving you an extra card. But this could mess with my shield if I don't block this out.
Coming in now with the drill shot for 5, electing to keep that 3 of a kind in the arsenal for a later turn.
Cannot have a drill shot hit if you want to be an Oldhim winner against Lexi.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a huge reason why the Ranger decks have been able to prevail when they do, is if they are able to force that on hit across and turn the consistent value of the Rampart into a net negative. But this, with the 2 cards in hand, he's got a Tear Asunder and a Command and Conquer, looking as though he's deciding how does he want to...
Yeah, you got to block with both of them. Oh, just kidding. We have another mystery card that we're going to block with.
Pummel coming up into the hand after the Crown of Seeds activation. So we have a damage prevention on the stack. And then we're going to use the floating that we have for the Rampart, which is going to cover it up alongside the Crown of Seeds. 1, 1, and 3. And that Pummel's probably going to go ahead and park right in the arsenal. Now, again, Crown of Seeds, part of the power of that card is that Pummel.
Right.
You know, that's a powerful thing. It can sit there for when your Tunic is up and you have the Command and Conquer coming in. But if you do crown it away, suddenly you have a powerful Pummel just right at the bottom of the deck that your opponent never got the chance to see.
I am interested of what is going on in Matthew Vore's head of, I wish I could have played Command and Conquer to try and get this 3 of a kind out of here. That would have helped a lot, but then I would lose my shield, and that's just, that's not a good trade. And like, at a certain point, when you're playing such an aggressive deck that goes wide, it is kind of like, when do I get to have my turn? And I think it's all about windows, whether you're a wizard or you're a guardian. It's like, where do I want to take a 7 damage arrow that doesn't have an on hit I care about to do like a 6 damage attack? Sikkim Shot. Everybody's in a disagreement about this card.
Are they?
Some people are like, it's trash. Go again arrows are not great. Like all it has on it is go again.
Yeah.
But
it's not free like a Falcon Wing.
Right. But it's a 1 for 5 if you load it with a +1 instead, because it already has the go. But we're going to perfect block it because we're Oldhim.
Yeah, a little Fate Foreseen coming out, plus the Rampart block. That's going to cover up all of the 5 damage. And Brodie, yeah, still showing the desire, the propensity to keep that 3 of a kind.
SAT words.
Yeah, what did you say, lugubrious?
Lugubrious.
That was insane.
Dude.
Lugubrious really hit me just
That's why they
the
give me Cheez-Its.
Dairy makes you...
No, I'm just saying it's like the big bucks, but we don't get paid,
got
so
you.
it's Cheez-Its.
Let's go! This is a Pathing Helix without a really relevant on-hit effect because the arsenal is full, so we're not going to reload upon any hit here. This is just 5 damage. The Crown of Seeds is going to get activated with some of those floating resources because, boy, can that deck use resources. Right. Boy, can it do what it wants to do.
Somebody in the chat's asking if there's a top 8 bracket I could see. I bet it's on our Twitter.
Hopefully.
I'm going to guess. I'm not quite sure. Somebody just tweeted it.
Michael Fung, Pro Tour champion.
He's taking our Twitter likes. Is it winning the Pro Tour enough for you, bro? Take our credit Twitter likes. Yeah, let's get back.
We appreciate the help. We appreciate the help. This is going to be a Titan's Fist coming in for...
4?
Because it's 3 or greater?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I was thinking Zealous Belting. Yeah, no. I feel it. Coming in for 4.
It's so weird how good Rouse the Ancient is or how bad it is. It's like either the best card in your hand because you're just rolling somebody, or it's like, oh great, I don't have a 6 block, it's only 5. It wasn't tweeted. Yeah, it's because everyone else that works at this is just chatting around, looking at all their promo cards and acting like people are flipping us off, man. We're very. What is it called? Bullied around here?
We're being taken to task.
Great. Brodie's turn. Is he going to block? There's no point in blocking, right? You can take 4 damage 10 times, Brodie.
You can take 4
cares?
10 times, but hey, he didn't become.
I mean,
He didn't become Kid Power, Boy Wonder,
yeah.
XP McGee by
Dude.
blocking quick. No. He's taking his time, deciding if he needs every single card in that hand, and if he's not going to use them, perhaps they're better to block with.
I mean, it is something.
He's got
where,
time.
Yeah,
He's got
yeah,
time.
it's untimed.
And for all that,
I don't think he's lost an untimed round in my entire life, right?
Say it again. An
His
untimed
entire
round?
life?
I don't think so. Yeah, not in his entire life. No,
Sheesh.
I'm just going to go ahead and agree with you because I think that's going to make
Dude, blocking 2 is crazy.
blocking 2.
That would be so good. Just play that next time.
Well, he does have the tunic counter up, so maybe he's seeing that.
Get rid of the tunic counter. That's pretty good too.
That's true. I hear it.
Okay, we're playing this one immediately. This is a 3 of a kind. If we draw Rain Razors, it's kind of not going to work for us.
Yeah, and he's been, he was saving it for a number of turns. So I'm interested to see what that other Arsenal zone holds because he didn't want to play it on those other turns where he had some powerful arrows as enough of a threat. Clearly, he thought so. So what is he wanting? He's been clearly wanting to pair it with something. Let's see what it is.
Right. We're kind of need a flip of the card no matter what, too. There we go. Bolt and shot. Most of the time, you want to send the bolt and shot before you put another arrow next to it so you could get the possibility of it working. But we're going to Frostlock instead. Is there a fuse? You better believe it.
Perhaps that's
Ice Quake.
Yeah, and perhaps that was part of what that 3 of a kind was sent out for, looking for an ice card to fuse with. In these Lexi decks,
Blocked
sometimes
with an ice card though.
he did block with an ice card. Yeah, you're
so
right.
That would be bad.
Yeah, you're right.
Sheesh.
Kind words from the Pro Tour champ in chat. We really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Get out here, bro.
Yeah.
Get out here. What are we doing?
Come win the tournament tomorrow, dude, and you can get on
The other grinders
blue eye
here.
or
Mr.
whatever.
Spurlock's here. Mara, come out
Yeah.
here. Come out here, girl.
Actually,
You afraid of Mara?
No, this is a no dragon zone flying over here, man. Nobody even got close to top 36, I think, on Dromai today.
Wallach was 17, 18, 19, 18.
Dang. Oh, we got a Frostlock. We're thinking about blocking it. I don't think there's a lot of 0-cost cards unless it's Del Taco. You could walk back to the game. What the play-by-play update of Anthony Pham's game versus Afai is probably he's up by 10 right now.
So this is going to be blocked out. He's pitching the Fate Foreseen because the fuse on the Frostlock, meaning no cards with cost 0 can be played or pitched. So that Fate Foreseen is going to be much better later in the game.
That's if it hits. So right now he's just making the defense reaction cost 1 more.
Yeah.
So I think that's why that's a dead card instead, which sucks for Matt.
Yeah, similar.
Is he somebody that
Tracking
goes
effect.
only by Matthew? Like you can't say Matt?
I don't know if you can't say Matt.
I guess Alex goes by Alex, or he would have been Alexander too.
True. This bolt shot now coming in for 4. Again, no reload effect threatened because the arsenal is taken up. And this is just going to be bolt and shot for 2. So not the most powerful turn off a 3 kind. And only
No.
1 left in Brodie's deck.
Unless the last time we heard, oh, what happened against Craig? Craig told me that Brodie played all 3 remembrances in addition to the quiver.
Yeah, and look at this because...
And I asked Craig, I was like, when's the last time that's happened to you? He said, that has never happened.
Yeah, it was something we saw popularized in, I think, or not popularized, but it was used very well in the Calling Singapore in the kind of like bonus stream game between Liao Peitung and Matt Rogers. There was a crazy final turn used with Remembrance, put exactly 2 cards left in the deck. There are no cards left in the deck. Remembrance, 2 cards exactly back in. Draw both of them exactly with Art of War. Win the game with those 2 cards. It was very cool. So these remembrances.
You were watching every stream, dude. You know all this stuff.
I love this game.
You're doing research.
I love this game.
Homework even.
But so now with the extra cards drawn up the 3 of a kind here, rather than just allowing those extra cards to sit in the hand or the pitch to just sit in the ether, he goes ahead and cashes them in, getting powerful cards back in the Battering Bolt, the Endless Arrow, and 1 other just right back into the deck. So, Brodie's comfortable playing a long game. The life deficit's only 10, but we got time. We got all the time in the world.
Is there a timer for this?
No. That's why we got time.
Oh, my God. I don't think he's ever lost a game.
Yeah, never in his life. You're wrong. I mean, you're right.
21 minutes to do 12 damage. Thank God Oldham's out of here,
Yeah. Well, hey, and
we
if we
could start going home early.
if we didn't have this game on stream, we just have to wait for it when the other
Yeah,
game
true.
did.
That's
So
why
it's
we
like,
did this one.
yeah, we just gotta. It's gonna take this long anyway. Might as well watch it.
I'm assuming because Anthony's walking around, that game is over. So I don't know if anybody that's over here in this area that normally tells us stuff that are just chatting away will tell us who won that one or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, Brodie showing the ability to, or clearly looking for, again, a longer game plan, able to maybe fatigue the Oldhim.
I haven't seen Command and Conquer in Arsenal for Lexi in a long time. Like, I don't know if these plays are unorthodox or it's just like, no, I have 72 cards, and that card works just as well as the card I flip as every other arrow I have. Why wouldn't I do that? How much Lexi have you played? You used to do it back in the day, right?
Say it again?
You've played Lexi.
Yes. What was the question?
How much have you played Lexi?
Oh, it was the first year I started with in CC.
Yeah, that's
so
what I
played it a good bit, and then, once Outsiders came out, I was definitely playing the hero again, playing in the call in Baltimore. This is going to be a flip of a CNC at the start of the turn with the Lexi, and then this Bolt and Shot again, coming in for 4. No reload worried about, so we're going to block it with a card and our trusty shield.
This is the guy you were talking about.
This is the guy I was talking about.
He's in the chat?
He's in the chat. That crying, laughing emoji makes me think I pronounced his name wrong. And
That's
if
great.
I did, I apologize. I apologize.
Well, I'm sure he can't pronounce your last name, so.
Well, I don't want to.
I don't know.
I don't want to assume.
We're all doing our best.
Yeah, this is going to be now the second Voltaire activation. Now a normal blue drill shot. Normal attacks for 2. Not that relevant, but this is a non-hit effect that Matt needs to care about. But it's an easy 1-card block here.
Arrows coming in for 2 just feels like yikes.
We're going to go ahead and crown away 1 of the damage here off the Crown of Seeds. So the Rampart's still sitting on the combat chain. So it's still going to require another point of damage block to stop the drill shot from turning off that Rampart for most likely the rest of the game.
What are we trying to do with our next Rain Razors if you're Brodie? Are you trying to do a power turn, or are you trying to do, like, let me catch a slippin'?
Again, these new Lexi lists with the remembrances and the quivers, I'm not sure how much they're worried about when do the big power turns come, or if it's about really stacking it towards the end. So you have to imagine with this matchup classically, you want to stack your power cards together. You want to put the Rain Razors with 3 of a kind, maybe even with an Art of War if he brought him in for this matchup, but we haven't seen one yet, so I don't know if they're in. But you have to imagine that that's the way you chunk down this Oldhim's life total, but perhaps it's more about utilizing the shuffle effects of the quiver, of the the remembrances, not necessarily worrying about the pitch stack so much at this first part of the game, and just getting to that critical mass where you're at. Both players are having to work with less cards in deck, and you're able to threaten those type of effects.
And you have threats only left.
Exactly. So we're going to start the turn
flip.
here, showing an Endless Arrow.
Not your favorite one, see?
Putting a Codex to the bottom by pitching it to the Voltaire. We're going to give.
I think that's one thing that's just so backbreaking is like, okay, I'm keeping up. I'm not under 20, but I haven't seen a Codex played, and Codex just represents so much of a like rubber band effect of like, I'm gonna jump ahead real quick.
Yeah, well, and probably Brodie potentially playing towards an opportunity where Matt doesn't have an arsenal, so that Codex can do a little more work than just create the ponder and create the frailty. So we're going to block out this red bolt and shot with the staunch response, leave the 1 floating in case we need it for the Rampart, so we need it for a Crown of Seeds, but we're going to activate Voltaire a second time.
We're thinking about it.
We got it.
Oh, okay, there it is.
We're
This is
gonna
going to have go again for free. So this will be +1 instead of give it go. This is 4. Block that out.
Block that out for 4, again with the Rampart, and then here comes the Endless Arrow. We're using the Tunic counter to
hopefully grab a 3 block.
activate the Crown of Seeds.
Ooh,
And we're just going to use that same card that we drew, or for one of the 2 cards in our hand, and the damage prevention on the Crown of Seed to go ahead and stop all that damage on the turn.
Not your favorite Oldhim turns. Like, I think that is something that is so funny about the new set of, like, Outsiders just turning, it's pretty hard to, like, back in January we watched Craig just beat Ayali, and it was like, Ayali's coming back from, like, 40 health down and barely gets there, but it's still like, oh, it's such a her Herculean effort, and now it's like Lexi's favorite.
Yeah.
The judge needs to correct their posture. Dang,
Leave them alone.
Evan taking
Leave them
shots
alone.
from the Sun State. I guess that's Florida. Matthew Vore has 1 yellow card.
Oh,
Final.
well, atonement final. Interesting. So coming back onto Brodie's turn here, we have the drill shot in the arsenal. We have a remorseless coming in. That's just going to be blocked for 6. Let's see what the follow-up is for Mr. Spurlock here.
And now that we've seen Brodie's list, there is not a Art of War, so we don't have to worry about those.
Oh, yeah, that's true. No Art of Wars in the list for Brodie this go-round. We are just throwing a Withering Shot that has go again, coming in for 5. And 1 floating, pitching a Remembrance. So those remembrances are going to be relevant later, as this Withering Shot is going to come through, maybe not give a Frailty. But it looks like that's not going to matter because we're taking all the cards anyway because we're throwing the Drill Shot. We're taking the last block off the Crater Fist, which will be relevant. There's no free blocks over there on the equipment suite other than the Tunic.
Don't want to be blocking with Tunic anytime in the next 30 minutes.
No, probably not.
It's got to happen at minute 58.
Probably not.
Or he's toast. God, this sucks when you're playing. You're just waiting to get owned by arrows. Which I'm like, what happens? What is an Oldham's best attack against this besides just the regular old Spinal? Is there anything else they can do?
Looks like he's got 3 red disables. That's going to pressure the arsenal, as well as the 3 red pummels. So if he ever has the opportunity to kind of be on the front foot, but Matt Vore's been blocking. I mean, I think it really started on that turn that we saw the 2 sigils and the Oasis in the hand. Like he had to kind of navigate through that turn and takes a bit of damage, but really just block it out. And then since then, Brodie's really been under no pressure but Titan's Fist. So there hasn't been any opportunity for Brodie to have to block. He's just able to go ahead and kind of execute his game plan in any way he wishes, and that's putting Matt just in the position of having to block pretty much every turn.
We see the sigil in Matt's hand, so I think we have gone through that deck once already because we draw so many more cards with our Crown of Seeds.
And 1 was played, yeah.
Because he's not shuffling his deck as Oldhim anytime soon.
This might be, wow, hold on. That's an interesting point from Tom in the chat. This perhaps, in terms of
the last day we ever have to watch an Oldhim game unless you're watching tomorrow.
That's true. I mean, because we control the power.
Right.
This is the last,
We ban Oldhim tonight for tomorrow's tournament and say too
this
bad.
This is the last, rated event of this scale with this hero in the format. Right. So the Searing Shot being blocked for 4, but then here comes the Battering Bolt 4/7, the +1 with the Voltaire, putting it over the top, requiring the Crown of Seeds activation if you're going to want to block it all out, which he is with 2/3 blocks and the Crown of Seeds prevention, blocking the 7. And once again, we're just sitting at 34-24 with 30 minutes elapsed in this game.
I just remember what I was going to talk about. So I think what's interesting about a Flesh and Blood 2 is you can't go half in on a game plan. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Matt's ever going to be like, I'm going to take some damage so I can Titan's Fist you right now. Mm-hmm. And it is you have to go all in on fatigue or it's not going to work. And Brodie probably knows that's one of Matt's only options, which is why he's going to be playing all 3 Remembrance and we already used our Quiver. So I think it's something where, does Matthew even have enough cards to finish that game plan? And every single decision going on the Oldham's head doesn't get to be the cool one of let me do 6 damage to you and threaten an arsenal. It is, I have to block as perfectly as possible for an hour. Even if I do that, if my opponent draws the Rain Razor at the wrong time, I just lose anyway. Just yikes.
Well, and I believe Matt and Craig are teammates, the Oldhim from earlier in the day that Brodie took down with that final turn right before the fatigue happened. So Matt Vore, aware of what could happen, that he's probably not going to be parking that hard to find all in the arsenal at the very end of the game because of what happened in that earlier game. So this is what happens in a long day of tournament play. You have, game plans and lines start to get a little disseminated among the public rather than just, the first time you're playing into here, the first time you're playing into a specific strategy on a given day.
And that was a hero power activation, so instead of using a card to block, just because it's a blue arrow, cool, I'll get to keep this card for later and block most of that out. But now it's drill shot time.
Yeah, and this might be the final red drill shot. I know we've seen a number of them. One of them was blue, so I'm not sure if there is another red drill shot left in the deck, but that's a huge part of the Lexi's game plan, is getting that, finding a way using a Codex, using Rain Razors to get a counter on that Rampart of the Rand's head. So far, Brodie unable to do so. You saw him take a minute. I mean, he takes a minute to do a lot of things, but you saw him take a minute to think about if he even wanted to send that drill shot, because Matt was very clearly representing the ability to block that out with the Crown of Seeds and then the subsequent draw.
I think we have at least one remembrance in hand and maybe another one. So, like, we're going to hit a curb pretty soon of, like, or pothole, whatever you want to say, molehill, like, whatever you trip
I
on
don't
these
think
days.
I want to say molehill, but we can say it.
Okay, well. We're going to reveal a Codex. That means we have a second Arsenal again, but we're going to pitch a remembrance again. I think drawing 2 remembrance is not what you want to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if there's another one in the hand or if it's a Rain Razors, which at this point in the game, with the Codex of Frailty, it could be a way to get. Now, I'm talking about, oh no, we've used all of our red drill shots. How are we going to. Hold on. There's a brand new card in Outsiders. Yeah, that, you can get really any of those arrows in the game. And we're still representing the Bullseye Bracers. We're still representing the Snapdragon Scalers. Now, what's interesting is this is face up, right? This Codex of Frailty is not something you have to question. It's sitting right there. It's aware that this is, Matt's able to look and say, okay, I need to be thinking about Codex for the rest of this turn.
And this is where you need a 4 block, so you don't want to be using your Crown of Seeds until Codex is played. And that's maybe a way Brodie can get around. I'm tired of this Mother Crown of Seeds in this Mother game, and I want that gone to get some more room for me. But I can't get it gone, but I can threaten the getting of it gone enough where you won't even use it because you're afraid of it.
Well, yeah, because if you're Brodie, do you want to throw it out knowing that you're not going to get the effect on the Oldhim side?
You need Oldhim to discard a card
so that you can get the big arrow through.
And so you can go get the red drill shot, right?
Yeah, but most likely. Now, we do see a Rain Razors in the hand. This looks like this is him electing if he wants to react with it, perhaps.
Brodie and Evan having a slouching contest. I would be top 8 in that. Semis and finals are happening immediately after this because we're on the West Coast. So it's only a little bit, it's like 3 hours earlier than it is where y'all are. Oh, the Dodgers just won against the Astros too? The Astros, boo them. We got this shot. This arrow is a Syrian shot, 3, but it could do 1 more damage if it hits.
Now this is a okay. We're using both of the defense reactions here on this hand to clear it up. Now this is an opportunity for Matt Vore. He's finally been able to keep 3 cards: 2 in the hand, 1 in the arsenal, 1 in the hand, 1 in the bag, bubbling. But the question is, does he have a big response? And this is exactly how you can, finally
Evan
put a little bit of
reacting
pressure.
as a judge is hilarious.
But this is
Evan is like he's like playing in his mind right now. Here, he's like, oh, what am I gonna do? And it's like.
Judge the game.
He's like looking over to see the cards.
Judge the game. But this Spinal Crush now, so we know pretty sure we know that's a Rain Razors in that second Arsenal zone. So, you're not able to pop off with that Rain Razors and the Codex in the same way you would if you didn't have to block a whole freaking Spinal Crush here. So, to get to your second Arsenal slot here, you're going to need to play one of those 2 cards, and you'd much rather play both of those cards with a full grip of your own. Right, so this is a huge Spinal Crush coming out from Matthew Vore.
And this is a kind of a thought process of if I do 9 here, and I was planning for this the whole game because I had to, Terra Sunder better be next. The second Terra Sunder better be after that. I don't think you could do 3 in a row. That's kind of crazy.
Now, what's interesting here is this is going to leave Matt without an Arsenal. It's also going to leave him without a counter on his, or not without 3 counters on his Tunic. So this is now an opportunity. You are going to be able to get that effect across if you're Brodie here with the Codex, with the discard, and it'll be more challenging to, you won't be able to just crown it away with the Tunic resource. So we'll see how does Brodie, after having to block with 2 red arrows there.
No crush.
No crush. He only takes the 3. He's going to flip the Rain Razors and most likely just play it out. We got the Tunic counter if we need to load an arrow with that. But we're going to load with Voltaire, put in a battering bolt. Now it's time for the Codex.
A different arrow first.
This Codex, we're going to give out a Frailty token. We're going to make a Ponder token of our own. And we're going to see, you know,
We are
does
going to
Matt
make
Vore
him
want to
discard.
grab another Spinal Crush, get something ready that he just can put back into his deck with the Crown of Seeds later.
That's why you got to start
know?
playing Hemorrhage Bore Lexi to immediately punish that.
Looks like he's looking towards the
Oh my
Command
goodness,
and
people are
Conquer.
trash talking in the chat, but they didn't come out here. Yikes.
That
What did he grab?
Command and Conquer.
Oh, okay.
And we are just going to go ahead and throw out a battering bolt here.
Just
this
for
is gonna
8.
come in for 8. The Command and Conquer over on Matt's side, sitting in the arsenal, which will be coming in for 5 on his next turn.
Don't break the chain if you don't have to. Pokey mokey.
Let's see. This is going to be just the...
Because I want to block this one more. Yep. Now we have our best attack in our arsenal, but we're going to be using that for a Crown of Seeds instead.
Most likely, and keeping it back in the deck. That means it's coming around for later in the game. So we tried to get through with our red drill shot there, like we've been talking about, if we're the Lexi player here, but Matt Vore able to still find the correct sequence to block it out.
Right. Brodie, flip that card. What's under there?
What's under door number 1?
Yeah. We can't wait any longer.
Brodie Spurlock.
How many times has he played Untimed Round?
In his life?
Yeah.
Let me just think real quick. Yeah, it's 70 more.
Has he ever lost one? That's our bet we're doing today.
Brodie Spurlock continually today showing his opponent one of his cards from his hand with that hand shuffling. Again, just trying to, you know, kind of equalize the state. You know, he knows how kind of big a name he is. He knows how many events he's won, so he's just trying to give a little bit of information to his opponent to make sure that everybody, you know, feels like we're all playing the same level of flesh and blood here.
True. That is a Falcon Wing, but we care about this other one first. We're going to give this one go again because we probably care about the +1 on the final third arrow, which would be nice. We're going to block with Crown. We're going to block with Rampart. Oh, no, we're not going to use Rampart. We're not going to use Crown yet. We've got the 4.
Starting off with just the Fate Foreseen and the Rampart of the Ram's Head, covering up the entire 5 and representing some floating if we need to use that Crown of Seeds later.
Okay. Here's 3. Here's a 3 block. I think it's interesting. Falcon Wing is the one where I feel like you could take it, technically. And then we're going to +1 into our... But can we shoot it? No. Not sending the arrow.
Saving it for later. Just wanting it to be on a 3-arrow turn.
I guess that makes sense because the math doesn't work on that.
This is just going to be another Titan's Fist for 4. Brodie, welcome back to the tank, sir.
Right. Dude,
the tank missed you.
Evan loves looking at people's hands. So funny.
We see a Rain Razors in his hand. We see a Command and Conquer. Now those are not 2 cards you really want to be pairing together.
If you're Brodie, how do you play around continuously drawing your remembrances before you play them? Is it like, I probably should play them quicker?
I'm not sure. I haven't played them in my own deck list. You have to imagine that at a certain point, like when you can kind of control when you see the cards that you remembrance in by playing them later in the game, like you know they're going to find them closer together if there's less cards in your deck. Perhaps that's part of it, but you're going down a card to do that. You have to make sure you have enough life total that you can take some attacks to play your remembrance, be down a card, and still present enough damage. So we shall see how he wishes to go about it on his side of the board, because we are coming in first on his turn now with a Heat Seeker coming in with go again for 5.
I feel like the real Heat Seeker is the heat emanating from him shuffling his cards so much over there. That's
Tell me
crazy.
about it. Tell me about it.
This is for 5 for people paying attention at home.
The real Heat Seeker, the friends we made along the way.
Oh my gosh, I wish. I haven't made a friend in Flesh and Blood tournament in 3 hours, you know?
Wow, okay, this Heat Seeker now, I'm curious what Matt Vore's got in the hand. I see another Spinal Crush, and there's that red sigil, the last one. So he's allowing this Heat Seeker trigger to hit. So, you know, Brodie Spurlock now all of a sudden, his whole turn that he's been thinking about, you have to imagine that he wasn't expecting to get that Heat Seeker trigger online, but knowing that, we're going to see how he wants to continue the rest of the turn, because he's getting another card in his arsenal no matter what.
If there's a way we can make a drill shot show up after this, Matt's going to lose the shield 40 minutes in, which is it's a good time to keep it all that time. Unless we find, I guess we do have a tunic where we could just draw a card off the top of our deck and hope it's a 3-block.
And we're going to do that right now. So we're going to draw a card from the Crown of Seeds. We have a Crown of Seeds prevention floating. We're going to block with Survey says.
I want to block 6. You're actually blocking 7 damage when you do this because we don't have to think about blood rot. We're taking it? What? I'm just kidding. The blood rot is coming over.
So yeah, the 1 damage prevention floating is going to soak up 4 of that damage, but Matt Vore saying, hey, I got another Spinal Crush. I'm wanting to deploy it.
Yeah, let's pummel this baby. Let's get a stew going.
And we are going to let that Heat Seeker trigger most likely resolve.
I think the only thing that you could mess up off a Heat Seeker would be like Face Up Remembrance.
Even that, you can play that card.
Right. I just don't know if he still needs the yellow pitch or how far are we into this deck.
And so what Brodie did there, he's going to go ahead and use the final pitch.
Some people have all the luck, man. Like only 1 Death Touch in his entire deck. Straight from the top of the deck to the arsenal, not the weird awkward part in between. That is the next level. If you want to get good, have that happen. This is a Spinal, though.
And I'm not sure if there are really any arrows in his hand. I saw like 2 or 3 Winner's Bites. So this Death Touch can just be thrown out, but the Rain Razors that's in the rest of the other Arsenal zone, you want that to pair with arrows, not necessarily with the Death Touch. Let's see, we've got at least 2 Winner's Bites in there. Those are going to block for 2. We got a Falcon Wing that blocks for 3, and then an Ice Quake, which I think blocks for 2, right?
Just 2.
Yeah, so those are going to be 3 ice cards that, again, you need Go Again on this turn to do all of that stuff. So perhaps sending those 3 ice cards down to block, just sending out the Death Touch with the Tunic counter that will be online on the very next turn.
Triples Winner's Bite would have been insane, though. I guess you can't Winner's Bite if they're, yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah, so these 3 ice cards, it looks like they are just going to go ahead and get blah, blah, blah.
2, 2, 2. We do get to Go Again if we want, but I think what's interesting is who cares about having Go Again when you got your Death Touch? Like,
yep.
Just throwing this for 6 is almost pretty good.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to tick the Tunic up, reveal the Rain Razors, throw out the Death Touch with the Tunic, and then arsenal that Falcon Wing, which is exactly the type of card you want to have with the Rain Razors, right? You want to be able to send multiple arrows and a Falcon Wing is a great way to do that. Yeah, and it's just chilling there. That's going to be 5 damage that's just sitting in the arsenal. And here's the thing, man. Like, Matt Vore's at 13 now. Like, we're talking about a game plan with remembrances and the quiver, but we're working towards a game state where damage could be the thing that closes this thing out, especially with the Bullseye Bracers, the Snapdragon Scalers. It's all still there for Brodie.
He hasn't used a piece of equipment yet? Oh, my goodness.
This Death Touch is 6 damage. I mean, you're gonna block it most likely with the you got the cards to do so. But again, Matt Vore, these are the turns you have to have the right represented clap back. We've had the Spinal Crushes a couple times, but he took
tear asunder, please.
Yeah, he took a bunch of damage to do this.
2 pummel hands not going to work out for anybody though. 1 pummel there.
1 pummel to the bottom of the deck, and there is the tear asunder, but electing to use his cards to block.
Work.
And that tear asunder most likely just going to go ahead and represent a Titan's Fist attack as he's going to go ahead and gain 3 life.
Thought I had 13 health. You thought I had 13 health? That's funny. That's funny. I have 16 health. I'm Oldhim. All I do is gain health, man.
That's what he sounds like in my head.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And here comes a Titan's Fist or they didn't even swing it.
No, that Terra Center went right to the arsenal.
So as long as Brodie doesn't have a Rain Razor's turn right now, which is definitely going to happen, Matthew's going to be able to turn this game the other way.
Yeah, you have to imagine that Terra Sunder's just going right to the bottom with something like a Crown of Seeds, right? Like, we're not going to sit on it, especially on a Rain Razor's turn. We need to use the damage prevention. We need to turn that card into a blocking card.
Dude, I love how much, like, are judges supposed to just hand peek the whole time? I don't know if that's judging.
Leave Evan alone. Leave him alone.
Chilling. Oh, so I remember what that was.
We're starting off with the Falcon Wing here. This is for 3 with Go Again. Not necessarily. Hey, we haven't thrown the Rain Razors yet.
Just block 3.
Might be coming.
Block 3. Who cares?
There's going to be the Rain Razors. So this is going to be 2 coming through.
That was blocked by Sigil from earlier, basically.
True.
And now all the damage will be quote-unquote face up. So we're just hoping, if we're fans of Matt, we're hoping that there's not a crazy arrow like Bolton shot. Oh, never mind. We're going to do 3 of a kind.
So, and
Jeez Louise.
critically, we've already thrown an attack for 5. We have both of
not
our Voltaire
Voltaire,
activations,
Jesus.
and we still have our Bullseye Bracers and our Snapdragon Scalers. And
This is the perfect hand for Lexi. This is why this hero is so good. If you're looking for a new hero to play and you haven't tried an aggro hero, if you're trying, oh, Oldhim got LL'd, what could I play next? Play this, because they're not going to nerf any of this. This is just going to be a thing here.
all right, we've got this is looks like I think a red drill shot. So this is most
6.
likely the last red drill shot in the deck. Going to be covered up entirely by that staunch response, but still taking 2 cards out of the hand here. 1 floating can activate the Crown of Seeds if we need. Brodie, nicely closing the chain for us, because without a Rampart, it's not that relevant.
Second Voltaire. Pitch.
Put in a Bolton shot. This one comes in for 7.
Why is this so good?
Because if this one hits, he gets to reload.
Oh. And we can most likely think that's going to be an arrow there. It has go again no matter what, so we don't need to use our Snapdragon Scalers. But we would have to use our hands, the Bullseye Bracers. I'm 96% sure a bug just flew in my mouth.
Okay,
And
okay.
I did not expect that, so if it starts to bite me, I'm sorry.
Okay, you're only 96?
It like went directly to the uvula.
Okay, so you're 100% sure.
Yeah.
My word.
I don't think it's going to fly out.
So we're putting the Tunic in front of this because this reload is that threatening. We're putting 1,
Tunic.
2.
We said if he blocks with his Tunic before minute 50, he loses, and he missed it by
Wow.
2 minutes.
So I mean, if the game
Do we know Flesh and Blood or
if
what?
the game goes in Brodie Spurlock's favor, we know why. And this is going to come through for 1? No. Yeah, it comes through for 1. So he's deciding on the reload because that's only blocking 6.
I get to save my arm for next time. And do this all over again. No, there's only 1 arrow, so we can only do this once. You can't it is a reload arrow, right? Not anything?
Reload anything. Reload.
That'd be sick. Give him a frostbite, really ruin his day. Infecting shot on Blake. It was like a bug shot for 7. It's like inside right there.
So we go ahead and resolve the reload trigger, which is
Cool.
going to plop in a...
Face up. Flip. Here's a frostbite. Take that.
And this is, I think, just going to set up a...
Because now we use Bullseye. This is the biggest arrow of the night,
Except it's a blue.
except it's a blue. So it's back to being a red +1. That one's going to hit. Here's a Blood Rot Pox.
So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on an arrow for...
Oh, and
so
if
that
it
was for
hits,
9.
The Ice Quake gives you a second frostbite.
Yeah, and that was an attack for, I
You're
believe,
not going to
9.
be able to pay for the frostbite at all.
Yeah, I don't think it affects...
No, it doesn't affect Blood Rot.
No, it
let's
doesn't
be
affect,
real.
yeah, it's triggered. But that was still an attack for, I think, 9, right? Yeah, so he's going down to 4.
Oh.
So that was a pretty huge turn on the
Whoops.
back of not only the 3-of-a-kind Rain Razors, but he started the whole turn off with a card already in his arsenal. Then utilizing the Ice Quake off the reload, giving the Frostbite, playing the card, and then able to use the Bullseye Bracers to just yeet the final arrow in.
Right.
And put 9 damage on his head.
And oh geez, was that a misstep for Vore? I think it's just when there's that many arrows, like how can you block them all?
Yeah, was there potential to use the Crown of Seeds there to prevent another 1 damage? Or did he use it all on the Rampart, other type of
He's
cards?
the guy playing, so he probably was like, dang, I don't have enough for this.
Let's see how Brodie Spurlock, he has the tempo here. Matt Vore's at 3. At this point, the long game we've been talking about, the remembrances, we're just looking at an Oldhim player on 3 who's already used all of his sigils.
Right.
So this is now, Matt Vore is in crisis control mode. He's in damage prevention mode. He's in, we're most likely fatiguing if we're winning this game. So can he string together the right blocks to do so? Brodie Spurlock, the first attack is going to be blocked out entirely, and this is where the remembrances start to come in. This is where it starts to happen, because we have 24 life to play with if we're the Lexi here. So,
He's only got 10 minutes though.
yeah.
Oh wait, it's an untimed round.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
He's only got 10 minutes. I hate you.
Sheesh.
All right, so this Remembrance going to go ahead and grab the battering bolt. Now, interestingly, these battering bolts, they're just big friggin' attacks,
I
man.
think it legitimately is because it's the only 6 damage arrow. So whenever I buff it with the Voltaire strike twice, it comes in for 7.
Yep, more
And I don't care if you have 3 health. If I do this to you 3 times, you block 6, you block 6, you block 6. I do 1 to you, I do 2 to you, and I do 3 to you, and you're dead.
Yeah.
Is what happened earlier to the Scourge of Pasadena, who, Craig, you got tomorrow. You got a top 8 tomorrow if you're going to keep the Scourge. What have you done for me lately, Craig? Just kidding. He almost topped 8 today. I think he got like 14th and a half or something. All these people we're talking about are in the 14 to 18 round range. There's another Aiden.
This Remembrance does look like it's going to go ahead and grab a Codex of Frailty, which brings more recursion into this Lexi deck. 2 of these, and I think, like you talked about, these are just big arrows. These are attacks that can hit a different kind of breakpoint for 7. You're putting, you've been pitching blues the whole game. You're going to have those blues available to you when these cards come back around. It looks like he's potentially, instead of the Codex, going for the Sikkim Shot because that go again. You talked about the discourse on that card in particular, but how you get through the Oldhim player is you just go wide enough. You present enough arrows when they're this low. You have to find a way to close the game out.
If I attack you with 4s and you were blocking with 3s, too bad. You will lose. And that's what we're going to do over and over again. I think it's so daunting to watch somebody search their graveyard and just be like, oh, I get to play whatever card I want again.
Yeah, but now here's the thing, there are not too many cards left in Brodie's deck, so he's going to have to do it.
So who cares about consistency or shuffling? Like, I'm going to draw these immediately in 2 turns.
Oh, we've got a Codex even here to finish this turn after the Remembrance. So he's going to draw another card. He's going to give the Frailty. So I think Matt Vore has 3 cards left in his hand, and we're just throwing a Death Touch for 6. That's you have to imagine these 1 Death Touch. They're there for these Codex turns. They're there because you're able to throw 6 and a non-hit effect.
Who cares if I only have 1? I can.
Yep.
I have 5 cards.
Yeah.
What is this? Let me look at this deck list. Oh wait, I have 6 cards that I could go grab this back immediately.
So we've got a Titan's Fist coming in. It's only coming in for 3 this time because of the Frailty. Again, Brodie's got so much life.
If he blocks, this is crazy.
That would be crazy because we are no longer worried about life if we're Brodie. We're worried about our deck size. We're attacking on the axis of fatigue here if we're the Oldhim player. That is what we have to be worried about if we're the Lexi player here. So let's see how Brodie Spurlock.
This should be pretty much the kill turn if he can go wide enough.
We do have that sigil still in the deck. It's still in the hand, and we have the no block in the Heart of Findall, but that can be used for the Crown of Seeds.
Thank God he has a crown. Thank God he has an arsenal. Remembrance number 3. No, that's a bow.
There's a Remembrance in the hand. Yeah.
True.
We're gonna go ahead and put in a Remorseless. No defense reactions from Arsenal. This is gonna be 5 with go again. Let's get that no block out of there. And let's put 1 damage prevention on the stack. We're going to draw a card that hopefully blocks because we had 2 when we started this turn that didn't block. We're going to put the damage prevention on the stack.
I need to drink some water because this bug is crawling up my throat or something. I don't think those are mine.
I don't think one of them's open.
Is it?
That's all you.
Oh, I'll drink this one.
Yep. So after that, we are coming in with a blue Infecting Shot. This is just for 3, so this is going to be able to be blocked out by just the 1 card. Or no, the +1 off the Voltaire. So we're going to use the Earth React to cover that up.
Brodie is on Premeditate. Or is he?
Nope.
I lied. Gotcha. Which that's crazy because that feels like it's one of their best cards for Rangers. But if you're running a down and dirty, a Death Touch, and 2 Command and Conquers, sometimes it's maybe not great.
And we are running out of deck very quickly for Brodie Spurlock. I mean, we've been talking about, how is Matt Vore going to win this game, and we've been talking about like at the life, but I think
maybe pitching Heart of Findall 5 times in 3 turns.
Yeah, it snuck up on us the lack of cards here in Brodie Spurlock's deck because this is going to be we're going to put 3 more back in right now.
Number 2.
And we've already used our quiver once. We've already used our 1 time of the quiver.
That's why I was thinking Remembrance number 2 was earlier.
Yeah.
There's 1 in the Banish Zone, there's 1 being played, and there's 1 in hand currently. I think what's interesting is you will draw these cards near immediately.
Yeah. And eventually you can set them up pretty much, if you leave it as your last cards there. You can set up
even
your
go
exact
grab
final
a
hand.
3 of a kind, right? To just like blaze through this to be like, here we go. Is that not a thing people do? Non-arrows are clunky for 3 of a kind. Players have to start to cut them. Okay, all right.
We're getting the red bolt and shot. We're getting the battering bolt. What's the third and final action that Brodie wishes to grab?
Ooh, no, I don't. Red. I guess there isn't a clause where you have to have 3 different ones. So it is interesting that he chose 3 different ones of. Instead of going for one game plan and jamming 3 of those in, we're going to be flexible. What's deck size? I feel like it's the amount of cards in your deck, which could be anywhere between 60 and 75. Is the max deck you could have?
It's 80 cards total, and then you
Right.
can present, I think,
You
as
have
many cards.
A weapon and 4
At
pieces
least,
of
yeah.
equipment, so 75 is the most you could possibly have.
Coming in here with the battering bolt. This is going to take 2 cards out of Matt's hand, and it looks like
Codex.
ooh, so this, yeah. So now we're representing more damage. I was going to say he's being able to keep Command and Conquer into blue, but no, this is going to put another card straight into the arsenal here for Brodie. If he likes to throw some damage, it will keep Matt Vore off of the Command and Conquer that's in his hand. So let's see, and he is going to go ahead and grab the red Searing Shot and just throw it at Matt for 4. This is going to take the entire rest of the hand from Matt to cover it all up, but he's keeping himself with that battering bolt in his arsenal, trying to set up for the big the turn to close this game out. It looks like he drew a Frostlock, and he's deciding if he actually wants to arsenal it off of the Ponder here. Yeah.
One thought process: if you are, what would you call this deck archetype of Brodie's version of what you're seeing? Because this doesn't feel like all aggro. This feels like it's a toolbox thing, or like what would you say?
You know, I think it's a similar shell to what we've seen from a lot of the Lexi players, but he is, clearly into Oldhim, taking out most of his ice cards, save for these Ice Quakes. There are 3 yellow Winter's Bites that he took out that would take up a lot of those kind of, disruption effects as well, but we don't see the hamstring shots. It looks like, he's on this list, there's a number of 2 ofs, 2 Command and Conquers, 2 Arctic Incarcerations, 2 Pathing Helixes. So it looks like, definitely a bit more disruptive than some of the just pure fuseless lists, but willing to try out, like you said, he's not grabbing 3 of the same card. Like, he's willing to try out 1 ofs and 2 ofs
Right.
for those special effects that you can grab off of something like a Codex, because you do have the ability to keep them going. Even if you only have the 1 in the deck, you can grab it with the Codex, you can grab it with a Remembrance, and keep that effect in there if you don't want to have necessarily 3 of them happening all the time.
Now we got to judge on both sides. So I bet everybody else in top 8 is done.
Brodie needs to find a way to finish this thing out before he runs out of deck.
Could help, because it makes everything cost 1 more.
You change our
But
pitch.
there's no way he has like a Sink Below or Fate left at this point anyway.
And most likely not any ice cards. Let's see. Yeah, this is just going to be for 3, no fuse. Needs the Snapdragon Scalers to turn on the go again. But how many arrows wide can we go here? We have a lot of cards in our hands to pitch.
I think you're trying to. I'm going to send a lot of arrows your way, and then the last one's going to be the red Infecting Shot, and that's going to get you on your own turn with Blood Rock.
Yeah.
That's the whole about what we're about to see. Justin, do we have top 8 matches that have resolved or no? Yes. Who won? We have a Katsu and a Kano that are fighting through, and another Lexi. So Maj and Bay made it through as Kano. Jonathan Terrace on Katsu. And then we did think Anthony Pham was going to win, and he made it through.
So, yeah, so only 1 Lexi out of the other games made it through the quarterfinals.
Which, that's crazy, because you have like 3 turns to get there with Kano. I should have been paying attention to this too, but
yeah, this was this was a big turn. 2 battering bolts coming in. That's going to bring Matthew Vore down to 1. So let's see. These are the 4 cards drawn from Brodie. What does he have to try to close this last point of damage out? This is going to be close.
Yeah, because if that was the what is it called? Infecting Arrow Red, then he just dies on his own turn. So can Brodie get this last point of damage with 5 cards?
Starting off, showing the red bolt and shot in the arsenal. That is going to represent a break point. Let's see how he wants. How wide can he go here?
He's counting. He's counting some more.
We're going to start. We're going to activate Voltaire. Strike twice.
If this is a 4 damage arrow, it kind of makes Matt run out of 4 blocks.
Yeah, and we're looking through the deck here. You know, Brodie is the type of player that is definitely able. He knows exactly what those 4 cards are most likely. This man memorizes entire pitch
It's pretty easy to
decks.
remember. I could maybe memorize 4 cards. Can't do 40. Sigil, all 3 have been played for Matt, so there's no way that there
Yeah, I
is
don't know if he played the 3rd one, did he?
I think so.
He did?
Yeah, I would bet so.
We're going to activate Voltaire. 2 floating.
Fingers crossed for all the Brodie fans at home. People in the chat think Matt didn't pay enough or something. It does not, says Eleanor. Taco Time needs to reread. Ah, he said, you right.
This is an infecting shot loaded into the arsenal. I'm going to assume with go again. So this one's coming in 4-5 with the go and then go again. This is going to take
use 2 cards.
2 cards out of the hand. This looks like this might be the turn.
Perfect
That
2
does it.
cards.
Load Voltaire again. Putting in. Here's that Sikkim shot. It already has the go again. So here's another 5.
Wow. Congratulations.
And that's going to do it as the final card left is the Bolton shot red.
The Rouse has come back to bite you in the ass.
So with is that how you really feel?
Yeah, that card is so good or so bad.
Brodie Spurlock able to take the game over Matthew Vore. Oldhim is not taking down the battle-hardened Los Angeles. We did it, Blake.
We did it.
We did it.
Oh, wait. Oldhim goes out on his back. That's what I was going to say, no matter what happened. Oh, my God. What is going on over here? My microphone was... it was like I was slouching that whole game, ready for Oldhim to be over for forever.
So...
Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na.
So, I mean, not that we have any...
we get to see him play tomorrow on the AGE, but after that, he is gone.
So that was, that was the last time we're going to see the Grandfather of Eternity in these type of events for some time until the Living Legend format. Well played by Matthew
I'm not
Vore.
playing Living Legend format. I hope nobody likes that. I hope it never gets streamed. Stick to CC. Let's get some of these low-tier heroes going. For everybody's that like, please just shut up and show us the top 8. Here it is.
Boom.
Jonathan takes down the #1 undefeated player. I'm Katsu. I wander wherever I want, bro. And then Majin Bey is going to get there. I guess he killed John Abanto. Kind of crazy because you have, 3 turns before that's over?
Yeah, so we've got a Katsu in the top 4. We've got a Kano in the top 4. And the other 2 matches, or the other 2 players, 2 Lexis. So even though there were 4 in the initial part of the top 8, only 2 made it to the quarterfinals. So, there's a chance we got Lexis in the finals, but there's a chance we're going to see other heroes.
Oh, there's no way. It could be Lexi. Fingers, I don't know what I'm rooting for. It is interesting. We have 2 people coming in here that people know. They're both in top 4. Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. Can Anthony Pham defend the Rose Parade spot? I don't know. What is this? The City of Roses.
The City of Roses. The City of Angels.
Oh, I guess we're battle-hardened Los Angeles, technically. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. We're going to say goodbye to you guys in a second. You're going to see the other guys.
Who we love.
We're going to go sit over there and be real annoying the whole time. And then we'll see you guys at top 8. Or what is it? Top finals.
Quarterfinals. See you soon. Don't go anywhere. More Flesh and Blood coming.
I can do that too?
Yeah, just give them a little